Hello, everyone. My name is Marcus Burns, and my life learning paper is over the philosophy of management. So I wanted to begin with Kolb's model of experiential learning. Kolb explains that in order for a person to be a well-rounded learner, he or she must analyze a learning situation 4 different ways. So the 4 different ways are A, concrete experience, B, observations and reflections, C, abstract concepts, and D, applications to new situations. So while going over my paper, I will be breaking down each section into these 4 sections, and I'll explain more in detail as I go along. Concrete experience. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is my previous roles and positions leading up to my current role. I started out at the age of 15 as a server for a retirement home. Then I had a manager that actually saw something in me, some leadership skills in me, so she began to give me certain tasks. And from that point, something sparked in me that made me want to become a leader and what made me want to become a better leader at 15 years old. Now, at 15 years old, my staff was all my friends. But so I had a really good example of how to manage with my friends. So that led me up to different roles that I went in as I worked at Staples and worked my way up to sales manager and operations manager. Also, I worked at AT&T as a sales manager for AT&T. And then going to now where I now work for Bank of America, and I went from an operations manager now as a financial center manager, running my own center. So you can really say as from 15 years old, I have been in some capacity manager. Influential mentors. Now, leading up to this point, I've had a lot of influential mentors that actually have gotten me to this point, beginning with my first manager at the age of 15 that actually gave me more tasks and saw more leadership skills and abilities in me. Along the way, I've had different mentors that has guided me and given me helpful tips and critiques and, kind of showed me the way over what to do and what not to do. And that leads up to my successes and failures. Although I had mentors that gave me a lot of tools, I still had to learn my successes, how to succeed and how to fail. I knew that staying on the path and learning, going outside of work and doing research and learning different things to become a better manager, reading different books and things, was something that helped me succeed. Failure area would be learning not to get so close to your staff members to where they actually become friends, because it's tough to manage your team if they are friends. Observations and reflections. Reflection of experience. Looking back and reflecting on my experiences, I can say that through management in different areas, I've learned how to manage a budget, how to motivate a team, how to encourage a team, how to management, how to have a successful business, how to run a successful business, how to have tough conversations with associates, how to communicate with them effectively, much more. Those were all learned just from 15 to now, just from the different skills that I learned from management. Observation of path. The path that I went on at a young age was not really the path I had in mind to go on. I had a different path of actually wanting to be a pilot. I actually went to flight school everything. But for some reason, management was always there, and it was always something that was available for me. I felt like it was a path that I should take, a safe path. Looking back on it, I would have probably done things differently, but it got me to the point where I am now, which I'm very proud of. My path was chosen. This path was chosen for me. In a way, I felt like the path wasn't completely chosen by me. It was something that I always had inside me, so I couldn't avoid it. Abstract concepts. I read an article online titled The 7 Tips for Management Success by Susan M. Heathfield. And this was one of the best articles I've read that spoke to me, especially with my years of management, because she broke it down in a way that really made sense and I agree with 100%. So the first way that she says that a manager can be successful is by building an effective and responsive interpersonal relationship. And this is very important. Something that I do with my team now is that anyone that comes onto my team, I know not only just their name and, things that they do at work, but I also want to know what they do outside of work. What's their favorite music? One of my favorite icebreakers for a new employee is, so if I went to your car right now and turned on the radio, what would I hear? What would be the song that would be playing? And you would be surprised to know what exactly someone listens to. And that tells you a lot about someone, like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that from this person, and it shows that how well-rounded they are, like what their interests are, what their likes are. So it's very important to know your team, because the best way that you have a interpersonal relationship with your team, the more you know about them, the better you can manage them. Number 2, communicate effectively. This is very important. Communicating with your team is very important. Every day, communicating with your team. Something that I do with my team is I may get something from my corporate office, and of course it's pretty harsh. But my job as a manager is to filter it down and communicate to them in a way that it doesn't discourage them, but help motivate them. Build a team. Building a team is very important. To build a team, to have a team that's built around each other, because you can't just put anyone into a team and expect for it to work. Each team member that you have is important. Each team member is an important player of that team. And you want to make sure you bring in someone else that could bring something to the team, not someone that could take something away from the team. Create a positive environment. Now, creating a positive environment is very important. And that's something that as a manager, it's very important for you to start. Every day, as I walk into my office, my staff knows I have a big smile on my face. I say good morning to everyone. And that's just the tone for the day. As long as I come in with a positive environment, as a leader, my team's going to follow me. So that's very important. Understand the financial aspects of the business. Now, this is very important, because in order for you to have a business or run a business, you have to be able to understand the financial parts of the business. You can't have a ton of expenses and not a lot of profit coming in. So you have to understand where that's coming from and how are you actually making money, because without that, there is no business. Be an example. And it is very important to be an example, because as a manager, I don't like to call myself a manager. I prefer to call myself a leader, because as a leader, I lead by example. So it is important for me to lead by example and to always show myself in the way that I want my team to be. If I'm stressed, it's very important that my team doesn't see that, because if they see their leader stressed, of course they're going to stress. So I have to be a good example for them. And empower others. Empowering others is one of my favorites. And that's just because I I was empowered by so many people. So it's important for me to empower that next person to get to that next step. Applications to new situations. Now, management is very well rounded, and a lot of the skills that you actually learn in management, you can use in your personal life every day. Time management is something that's very important to me that I use every day, keeping up on task. I have 2 teenagers that have cheer, football practice, football games, they cheer at games, drums. They have all types of activities outside of work, including activities for outside of school, including my wife's and I activities. So it's very important for time management to know where you are at what time and have a schedule and stay on that schedule and make sure, because things could go crazy if you're not. Communication. Like I mentioned earlier about communication is also important in your personal life. It helps you communicate with your children, also helps you with communicating with your family and with your wife or spouse, because you're not always going to agree with everything, but if you learn how to communicate, and that's something that management teaches you, is how to communicate effectively, you come out happier in the end. Organization is very important as well, and that's something that you also learn in management, because it's tough to run a business if you're not organized and you don't know what's where, what's going on, or who's where. So that's important, and especially, like I mentioned, having teenagers and they have a ton of activities going on. It's very important for you to be organized and know who's where and what's going on. And finances, of course, everyone has finances in their personal life. So what management teaches you is also how to effectively manage your finances. Documentation. The documentations that I will be presenting is a letter of verification from my market leader, business cards with my current position, and awards that I won over the years.